As market pattern traders, it is July 29th on a Sunday. On a Friday. Sunday, the monthly open and the weekly close will be active. So expect a lot of volatility and fuckery. I want to tell you guys something about the VWAPs and how I play them. Again, I came up with the strategy a year ago, so I put a lot of hours in back testing this. So if there's anything I know the VWAPs very well. The monthly open and the VWAPs usually tend to hold price up or down. So, and it always does two taps. It always actually goes for a second attempt type of behavior before a trend gets flipped. So why don't you just be patient? I'm not going to argue about you trying to knife catch, but just be patient to see what takes place when the monthly open opens and when the actual monthly VWAP opens up. So as you see over here, the red one is the monthly open, the blue is the monthly VWAP. We didn't get above it, we died. And it just held us down the whole time. Even down here, as long as we don't get roughly about a weekly close or like a 3-day close under the monthly open or the monthly VWAP, it tends to act like support and the price pushes up the whole month. So wait until the new monthly VWAP, the new monthly open actually gets structured onto the chart, it unfolds itself, and then start seeing how the behavior is between the old one and wherever the new one's going to be. And eventually you're probably going to end up seeing something like this, where this previous monthly VWAP, which is here, and this current monthly VWAP, which is here, it's going to act like a ping pong. And then it's going to create a nice little range for us to be able to scalp, trade, or whatever the case is. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys about the VWAPs. Now, in regards to another thing I want to mention is that John officially texted me a few days ago, and he is planning on releasing the order block indicator sometime next month. So the order block indicator allows you to visually see order blocks on the fly without having to sit here and figure them out. A lot of people have a hard time noticing what really is an OB versus what's not, which one's valid, what criteria to use. A big reason why I went long here and was because of the order block. I did close all my longs before the main pump, right? Because I closed them before the FOMC meeting, so I missed out on the whole pump, which is fine. I'm looking for shorts. I'm trying to build a massive short to the downside. I have no faith in this absolutely being a bullish structure by all means. I know that it looks bullish, I know that it looks great, but that's what bear market rallies are. They make you FOMO, they make it look good, and then at the end of the day, they kind of rug you. So nowhere am I saying that this is going to be a massive rug. All I'm saying is that I'd rather protect myself and look for the short until the next high time frame pivot, which will allow us to go back up to that $28,000 to $34,000. So it's a very, very neat indicator on the higher time frame. You do happen to have a lot of confluence where you are. You have a 2-day order block here. Your next 2-day order block is sitting at $38,000, completely out of the equation, not happening anytime soon. We bounced off the 2-day down here. The most important one is the weekly. So I posted this on Twitter like a month ago. There was an FEG here with an OB. Chances of that holding are like 9 out of 10. It's beautiful. Next target is obviously $28,000 to $32,000. But the issue is that people just think that we're going to go up in a straight line. They don't understand that a weekly order block takes roughly about a month and a half to a month to actually create a structure. So if you're talking about what the next target is from here, you could easily come all the way back. Sorry about that. Come all the way back down to 20,500 and still be intact and still do this and be just normal. You could even come all the way down here and still be normal and go back up here. There is nothing that's telling me that we need to breach that low. I'm not telling you the low is in, but for now, from what I'm looking at, there's nothing that indicates to me that this low has to break for us to do something like this. It doesn't, could happen. I don't see it yet, right? I rather this low gets breached after we come up here, after we go there, because this is going to be a fucking blind short. This is going to be a blind short week to week. There's going to be a blind short. No matter what I do, I'm shorting this thing blind. I'm going to exit the market completely and I'm going to short this thing blind. So again, order blocks being released sometime next month. Another question I had, I'm sorry that I'm doing this in the video, but I need to get it out, is the fair value gap indicator. I'm going to close this. I want to put this on the map real quick because a lot of people have a little bit of a hard time playing with the settings. So when you get the indicator, guys, you're getting it reset like this, right? Red, bunch of lines everywhere. All right. So a new update is coming out where you're going to be able to filter the fair value gaps by size. So you're going to say, you know what? I don't want you to show me anymore the gaps that are small. I don't want this. I don't want to see this gap over here or this gap. It's too small. It's cluttering my chart. I don't want to see that. So he's adding a criteria for that, which is freaking awesome. But anyway, how I currently have my thing set up, I have one color for both bullish and bearish. I like a light color because I have a white screen. If you're using a dark screen, a dark theme, you could do yellow, gray, whatever you prefer. Another important feature here is the show gap zone. It's mandatory. A lot of people told me about the extended gap lines. I personally don't like this, which is way too cluttery. I had a few people that like it. I personally don't. I prefer the show gap zone. It highlights the zone of the gap, which is very important to me no matter what happens, because I want to be able to see it from afar where BTC currently is. Now watch what happens right now, right? So you have your median. Median is the middle line right here of BTC's daily gap, which I think could potentially act like a deviation over the weekend, since we're going to have low volatility and stuff like that, right? So now if you create this feature, if you put this feature on your chart, highlight remaining gap, it's going to actually erase whatever gap got filled. So this way you know how much gap is left. It's amazing. It's beautiful. So now you know that when you go down to the downside and you come up to this gap, which you will, you're going to hit this gap. I'm telling you, you're going to hit it. It's going to erase it and turn it white the way it turned the white over here. Do you see the difference between what happened here? Pay attention to this blue line over here. This blue box over here. Pay attention to this whole thing right here. Just so you guys can see. It's a neat feature, great visual for stop losses. If you have this on, it just shows you where all the gaps are. If you have this off, it shows you where the gap is. If you have it on, it highlights how much gap is left. Now you know where to put your stop loss, right? You know how much gap got filled. It's amazing. Next. So the gap EQ, I usually leave it dashed. I don't like doing solid, because then it gets confusing with the top and the bottom. So I always leave it dashed. You could even do dotted if you prefer, but I like dashed. It's easier for me on my mobile. Most important thing here on this whole thing is the flat opens. Toggle flat open on always for me. Extend flat line, I keep it off. Delete flat open, I need it on because I want them to delete them after they get filled. I don't do anything with the colors. I don't do anything with the candle colors. You could change this to yellow if you want. This way it's going to highlight all the candles that are flat opened yellow, so you could see it better visually, right? See these yellows, the flat opens. I don't care for them. I don't need them in my eyes. I prefer to go back to the original white and black where I had them. And this is mandatory. I changed this color to one particular color that I like, and I make the solid into arrow right, arrow R. And now look what happens to the flat opens. So now on my chart, all you see is flat opens with a gap, the middle of the gap, the zone, and as you fill it, it turns white. And that's it. This is as clean as you're going to get of a setup. So now talking about BTC, where we are and what we could potentially be doing, I personally think that we're going to be heading down. I'm not building any long positions yet. I'm still in the midst of looking for shorts. I am building that short that I'm thinking is going to take place. I still think that this is in play right here. If we do happen to go for one more poke, it's going to go for that median of the daily time frame, which is 24.9, 25.1, around there if we wick. But overall, right now, guys, I am short. I stated it yesterday, and I am expecting price to overall start grinding to the downside. This doesn't look like a bullish structure to me, even though it is technically quote unquote bullish by what's it called? By a breakout, right? So you broke out above 21.5 with a high time frame close, came back and retested it. Very bullish. More likely than not, when you do what you do after this is you go back up and you test a 5-day order block. See, there's a 5-day here. I'll be a nice little short to come back down. That is exactly how a bullish structure reacts. And I'm with you, and I expect it to take place if this market was not downtrending. Market looks like complete shit, unfortunately for me, from a higher time frame perspective. None of the oscillators look good for me. Let's go to our oscillators. None of the oscillators look good for me for a macro bottom. They do actually look decent for a local bottom. I've stated it before, but overall, until I start seeing like monthly resets, like see this monthly reset, until I start seeing this, I don't want to even talk about any kind of potential macro bottom. To me, I think this is all going to be one big bull trap, and it's going to die. And if you actually look at the structure that BTC is putting in, explain to me how in God's name anybody could be high time frame bullish when this thing didn't even have the balls to actually go to the 0.5 and it rejected the 0.382. So if you look at it from maybe a 3-day time frame, or maybe go to order, yeah, right there. Okay, and do this and go back over here. So we create a range, right? Your range low is 30,700. Your range high is roughly about $63,000. You deviated it, you took it, you came back down, you created a low, you created a high, you created a higher low. This is your higher low. This is bullish. 1, 2, 3. This just shot you up here and then collapse, right? But what did it do instead? It couldn't even get above the 0.382. So how is that bullish? Look what happens when you go to the 0.382. Boom, done. Dead. Adios. Bye-bye. Low, low. Look where it stops. It's going to stop at the point, I think it was wait, this is, 0.24. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I apologize. So now think about it from this perspective. Next time we assume that this is going to be a what's it called? A bear market rally. The next one that we get, whatever the case. Let's say this just tops out over here somewhere, right? Tops out over here, comes back down, and then we go up for another bear market rally. This next one, whenever we get it, should be the one that's going to bring us back into this old range. It should. Second one usually is always more powerful than the first one. First one is usually one that traps the bulls, goes back down, traps the bears, and then you go back up and you continue your course. But overall, because of this situation, I personally think that we're going to be in one long range. One insanely long range. Where's $10,000? Where's 10,000? 10,000. One long range. And this is exactly what we are right now. We're in the middle of nowhere. So no serious support here. You break this 17,000. I think it's going to do this and we're going to die. Right? There really isn't any real support here, guys. I don't care what happened here. On the way up, this wasn't respected. So then on the way down, this shouldn't be respected. Does that make sense? So I can't see us like doing something like this. So if we do happen to breach this low, it's going to be pretty bad. So to me, low stands. Low stands for the time being for local low stands. And then technically the move back up should be to the weekly supply, which is 32, 34. What do we say? This block over here. Again, you guys should be getting this order block indicator sometime next month. I apologize. All right, guys. I didn't really give you much information on BTC on the lower time frame because to me, I'm just waiting for the high time frame short. Just be cautious because the 4-hour and the 5-hour are already curling. So be a little bit cautious in your longs, right? So 12-hour is, you see this? This is basically the kiss of death. If you break above, very bullish. You're probably going to get another spike up, like maybe $2,000 right here. If you don't and you get rejected, it's going to be a free fall back down. So who knows? It's a toss-up. Weekend is here. Anything could happen. I'm playing the shorts more than I'm playing the longs. And that's it. Keep this in mind, though. Keep this in mind, right? Keep this in mind. These lows here don't sit well with me, right? They don't sit well with me. That's all. Cheers. Hopefully this was helpful and it wasn't too much of a yappity yap, but just keep in mind that weekend is here and the monthly open will be on Sunday. So be patient. Wait until the open opens up and see what happens. CRV short is fucking printing right now, guys. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh my God. When this thing actually breaks structure and dies, you got no idea how beautiful this short's going to be. When this thing actually collapses, well, it's going to, wherever this tops, if it tops off here, wherever this tops off, it's going to end up coming all the way down here. It's going to be freaking beautiful. All right, guys. Cheers.